Welcome everyone. My name is Ali Shivji. I am one of the principals at Optimal Living, and welcome to a very fun, exciting, and what I'm sure will be very entertaining a conversation today around this idea of newfound freedoms. And part of the series we've been looking at over the past couple of months has been this idea of reimagining and rethinking the way that people think about their lives, people think about their misconceptions, their conceptions, and what happens in that regard in general, be it COVID, be it aging, or today, be it what happens when you move into a community and what it's like. So before we start, I think it's both appropriate and important that we do spend a couple seconds just doing a quick land acknowledgement. Strathcona County and for us, Optimal Living, we respectfully acknowledge where we're located, and that today we are located here on Treaty 6 territory. We're recording this in Strathcona County in Sherwood Park, and that for thousands of years, Indigenous people have lived and thrived in this place. And we not only are respectful of that, we stand upon the land that carries the footsteps of the Cree, the Métis, the Blackfoot, amongst many other nations, but we also look at that and as an opportunity to continue to explore and expand and learn. Because I think the one thing that these webinars have taught us is that there's more to learn than to share. There's so much more to learn, and part of that is also learning about the history of ourselves, of our nation, of people. And so I know that we have National Truth and Reconciliation Day tomorrow, actually, and it's an important thing for us to start off with, to just acknowledge, and that we have a lot more to learn, and I'm looking forward to a lot more conversations about that, including, I think, and I think it's Molly, we should talk a little bit about your experiences teaching, because I think that'd be a really interesting way to talk through it, and maybe we'll get there a little bit later if you're okay with that. So, with that, we should do some quick introductions. I think it might be really interesting to ask each of you or I'm going to ask some to introduce the others, because I think that'll just be more fun. So, but first, Marge, can you help me introduce Erin? How would you introduce Erin to the audience?
Erin is a fantastic leader. She is always happy and bubbly, and she keeps everybody very involved in everything that we do. And she never gives up. She just keeps bringing more of us and more of us together. It means a lot to all of us because we need that.
Molly, how would you introduce Erin?
Erin is the life of the party. She's always happy, smiling, and passes that on to us. And she encourages us to get out of our rooms and take part in things that are going on. And that's important because we want to do it sometimes, but we just don't have the courage to do it without her word.
Now's a good time, because I forgot to acknowledge the fact that we are also taping this in a COVID-friendly environment, in the context that, one, in the current precautions currently in Alberta, and they happen to change every so often, depending upon how you look at it, but we wanted to make sure, one, that Erin is still in a medical mask because she's close to you and working with you, and that she does work with you on a regular basis, and hence she's that close, and I'm a little bit more distanced away from you, even though I do love hugs, but that's another day, another time, and we wanted to do that so that we think through that. Erin, how would you describe Molly and Marge, and can you please tell us about these nicknames that they have apparently they've acquired after moving into Wild Rose as a community?
Yes, well, there's Marge and Molly and Marge, they're kind of synonymous. They spend a lot of time together. So their nicknames have become Mayhem and Mischief, which they argue about who's who on which day. Okay, so again, today. Both Molly and Marge have wonderful attitudes. They're really positive no matter what's going on. They always are welcoming with other residents. They're always trying to get more people involved. They're kind of like my assistants, really. They're sort of the ambassadors at Wild Rose. Marge was there first, but Molly has recently moved in, and they became fast friends, and they've got quite the circle that's kind of gathering around them. They're sort of a very dynamic force of positivity and light in our home.
So tell me about, let's start with, today we want to talk a little bit about some of the the newfound both freedoms as well as maybe joys that you've unexpectedly or maybe expectedly experienced after moving into a congregate living environment. Because I think people have different names for it. Be it, one thing we're very allergic to. We don't like to talk about nursing homes or facilities because at Optima we're always about how do we welcome you home. So tell me about before you moved in, before either of you moved in. What were some of your hesitancies? What were some of your thoughts about what you may experience, and then how has that changed?
Well, for me, I think, you're living in your home. My husband had passed away, and you were alone, and trying to figure out what your next steps were in life. And then I ended up being very ill, and due to health reasons, I was told that, pardon the expression, but I was unfixable. And I figured it was time then to sell my place and move into a community where I didn't have to do a lot of lifting and a lot of things that I can't do anymore. Okay. So for me, it was health reasons that made me move. And I'm glad I did, because the friendship that we acquire is unbelievable, and you're never alone. That's one thing I find in a community, is that you're never alone. You've got people around you at all times, whether you're happy, sad, or whatever. They're there to help you and to be with you. And it's a great way of making a new family. And in that new family, we have a tendency of looking after each other a lot. Mm-hmm. And that means the world to us.
Was that something you anticipated?
No.
Before you moved in?
Never thought of it. Not once.
And I'm glad, from what I hear at least, whoever thought that you were unfixable was very, very wrong. But then again, I probably nothing to fix other than the fact that we need to get you to make more soup, because apparently you're quite the soup maker. So maybe we need to fix that part. But that's probably about the only thing. Yeah, that's interesting. That's helpful to think about. And Molly, from your perspective, like what were your thoughts before you were going to move into a place? Did you have? Well, I mean, maybe I won't preclude it. I'll see what you think.
I lived in Lethbridge. My husband and I had moved into a condo and enjoyed life, and then he passed away. And then when COVID hit, then I was alone in that room all the time. And so I phoned my daughter one day and said, Donna, I'm going to move up to Edmonton. My daughter lives in Edmonton. And I made that decision, and the kids were quite happy with what I'd decided. And so got packing, but then I went into a slump. One doctor said, you come close to having a nervous breakdown. And it wasn't me anymore. I didn't know who I was. And so when we drove up to come to my new home, I thought, I'm going to be positive about it. I'm going to be happy there. I'm going to love people. I'm going to laugh and have a good time and forget all the other things that are going on. And with that attitude, I moved in. The first few days, I did nothing but sleep. And then Marge found out I lived down the hall from her, and I didn't get so much sleep anymore.
So clearly Marge was the instigator of all of this, is what you basically say.
That's why I missed you.
All right.
She's mayhem.
So if you're okay, may I ask you a little bit more about when you're in Lethbridge? We've seen often that, unfortunately, there are life events that happen. Sometimes someone gets ill, someone falls, or they lose a partner. But what's interesting is there are a lot of people that then think that, okay, the best thing is to just keep mom or dad just at home, right? That they'll be okay to be because they're comfortable in their environment. We don't want to move them. We don't want to create a lot of disruption. They've already lost a partner. They've already had a loss. What was like the the isolation or the loneliness, like being by yourself there. What was that like, and how has that feeling inside you changed since you've moved into your home that you're in now?
When I moved into where I am now, I felt like I was coming home because, and I'm terrible with names. Louis, can I get it right?
Louis, yes.
He phoned me quite often. My daughter had found the place. I told her I want to move up near you. And so she found the place,
At Wild Rose.
Wild Rose, yes. I forget words. One reason I'm there. And so then I felt like I was going home when I went there. And I went in, and the first few days I did nothing but sleep. And then people keep coming to my door and says, come to this, come to that. And I felt really welcome. And now it's my home. It's not a place I'm living, it's where I live. The people there are my family. And I'm quite happy again and healthy.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, because sometimes there's this misconception that people go to a seniors living community building, however one wants to call it, because they go there to quote unquote die. And I think the biggest thing that we first and foremost want to do is to say, sorry, if you're going to come somewhere to die, please don't come to an optimal living community, because you're coming here to live. Like, you're coming here because we want to welcome you home. We want to create this incredible environment for you, and we just want to enable whatever whatever mayhem or mischief you may create. And so we should talk a little bit about this, because apparently there was also a set of firefighters that came to Wild Rose, and they're not sure if one of you may have pulled the fire alarm that may have got them there, but...
I missed that, and I may pull the fire alarm one day.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah. Tell me what it feels like to be at home. And, Marge, do you want to start? Molly, please.
It's comfortable.
Yes, it
You
is.
feel accepted, you feel loved, and you've got things to do. We don't sit around and do nothing. Marge has got me painting, although I'm probably the world's second worst painter. Someone's got to be worse than me. But I'm now a painter, and she hasn't got me crocheting scarves
Oh,
yet.
that'll come.
He's got a plan, it sounds like.
Over my dead body.
It's coming.
So, no, I feel like I'm at home now. I have a beautiful suite. My daughter and my son-in-law fixed it up for me. And it looks lovely, it's comfortable and homey. It's got my pictures on the wall that I had on my wall in Lethbridge. It's got my furniture, etc. And I love being in my suite, but I also love being out, taking part in things that are going on.
That's awesome. Marge, how would you describe home, and also how it feels to be at Wild Rose?
Well, where I was by myself in my condo, it was very lonely. And being in a community like this, you're never really lonely. And it's home. There is no other word for it. It's where you find your friends, your family comes to see you. You've always got something very busy to keep you very occupied. And if you want to just sit in your room for a while and be quiet, you can definitely do that too.
What would you say to yourself a couple years ago when you're in that condo? If you had a chance to go back and talk to yourself, a couple years ago, what would you say to that person who was in the condo by themselves?
Why are you sitting here by yourself? There are other places to be. There's no reason to sit there by yourself anymore.
Tell me about the downsizing process. Molly, I know that you were referring to a little bit, it was pretty stressful, I'm sure, trying to figure out like this house and how to get all the stuff you need to do. How did you navigate it? How did you...
I had to sell my house, which I didn't do a really good job of because my brain wasn't functioning properly, and I know that now looking back, but that's just how it was. I didn't handle it well.
Okay.
That was the one thing that I did not do well, it was downsize. When I moved, my kids got involved, thank goodness, And they just took everything I had and moved it from a 2-bedroom condo into a 1-bedroom place. So I lived with boxes for a while, and I'm still downsizing. I've moved in the end of June,
Okay.
so I haven't been there very long. And but I'm happy. It's my home. I have friends. I have sisters. Got a few brothers too. And it's just a comfortable place to be.
If you were to go back and speak to yourself a year ago, what would you say to yourself?
I would say, get off your butt and get busy. Get things organized. Get up near one of your kids. I have a son in Calgary and a daughter in Edmonton. And I don't know if you know the saying, a son is a son till he takes a wife, a daughter's a daughter till the end of your life. And it's very true. My son is good, he loves me and cares for me, but my daughter looks after me.
It's funny, but I'll share a personal story in this context. So we have 2 daughters, and someone the other day was giving me a hard time saying, "Oh, you have no sons," and I kind of looked at him and I kind of laughed and I said, "Actually, like, you have no idea. I think I hit the jackpot. 1, because I love my daughters. 2, they have me wrapped around their finger, but fine. But 3, and more importantly, I know that what I've seen is that daughters play such an incredible role in that kind of keeping a family together and caring for them in that way. And I've seen that, and I thought, oh, great, I've got 2 daughters. I mean, I have to deal with like the teenage years. So I've been told maybe I should keep a shotgun on my mantle, and maybe
I'll
that'll
have fun with that.
Yeah, but I think that'll be worth it. I'm okay with that. But interesting coming back to that part about saying, okay, so get off your butt. So what if someone's stuck at home and they're watching this and they're like, well, it's really nice that mayhem and mischief have found each other, but that's an odd case. Like I'm strong and I should stay at home, and this is my house and I've lived here all my life, and why would I want to leave? What would you say to a person that was thinking that way?
I would say, you want a home, find a home where you can feel at home. Find a place where you're comfortable, like I have, and where you can enjoy life again instead of sitting, looking out the window.
Marge, how would you?
Pretty much the same. It's very depressing sitting there every day all by yourself and wondering how you're going to get about to do things when you don't need to be doing that.
But they have TV. They have their phone.
Yeah, but there's more to life than TV.
There's people.
Yeah, tell me about that. So tell me about what is more to life than TV?
It's enjoying each other. It's getting out and doing things together and being part of a group of people that is now your family. That's the biggest thing. It's a whole different ball game having a new family to be with. I have 2 children that I love dearly, but being in a situation like I'm in right now with the family I've got, I wouldn't part with them. It hurts when one of them leaves and goes into a different direction. It hurts.
Is there anything that either of you have learned from the interactions you've had while you've been at Wild Rose? Like, are there new things that you're learning, or something that surprised you, maybe?
Art.
Okay.
Aaron got me into art that I never dreamt that I could do or would ever be interested in. But I love doing crafts and all sorts of things like that. But doing artwork, no, that was not my forte.
I didn't know
But
that.
she got me into it, and I love it.
Aaron,
She
tell
got
me-
me into it.
Yeah, see, so there's the knock-on effects, right? But Aaron, tell me a little bit about when you're, through your lens, how do you see both the stories that Molly and Marge have talked about, but also when it comes to interacting with residents, how do you see it from your lens, and how do you see what home is like, and what we do on that end to create that sense of home for them?
Well, it is very much a home for me as well. We talk about it all the time. I spend more time with the residents than I do with my own family. So, I was sick for a couple weeks in July, and when I came back, everyone's like, "I'm so glad you're home." And that's what it's like. And it's fun because you know, when they say you've got sisters and brothers, I've got a lot of moms. I've got a lot of aunts and uncles there, which is, you know, can be pretty humorous, especially when I try to decorate for a seasonal event because everyone has their opinions of where things should be and what they should look like. But I have a lot of support as well. And it does feel very familial, you know, with these, you know, Molly and Marge, but even within our art group, you know, we have a pretty strong group that comes every week, and we're slowly gathering some more residents. And, you know, we've got John and Dawn and Karam and, you know, same people every week. And there are support for each other. You know, they come in and sometimes people say, I'm not sure if I'm coming to do the artwork or it's because I get to spend time with, you know, the other residents. And we don't really talk too much, but it's more of just company. We always play nice music, right? So it's this environment that we create and everyone's part of it. It's not my doing, it's everyone's involved. So, yeah, I just see that everyone, you know, they kind of lean on each other and they look forward to spending time with each other, and yeah, they're just there.
And is there a secret sauce behind the scenes? Did you have a secret plan to get Marge involved in art because you saw that she was great with baking and preciseness, or is there a rhyme or reason behind how you're as good as you are with what you do?
I definitely see that Marge is very creative. She's also very social, very likable. She has a very magnetic personality. So no matter where Marge is, people gather. So that's kind of a key element. But yeah, when I first met Marge, she came in right, I guess, before last Christmas. It was last fall. Yeah. And she got very busy with her crochet. And she made all these little crocheted gnomes. And that she ended up giving gnomes to all the staff. And not just one gnome, 2 gnomes, because they can't be by themselves. They have to have a friend. There's only 2. So everyone had these beautiful, you know, handmade crocheted gnomes. I thought, well, and then you were doing the diamond painting in her room. So I know she's always really busy. And yeah, I just invited her out to art, and that was it. You've come ever since. Look forward to every Wednesday.
And I do. It's odd because I never thought I would enjoy watercolors, but she's got me into it. And now I prefer watercolors over acrylic, and I have fun with it.
I think the nice thing about the art program also is that every week when we create our artwork, I've got frames on the first 2 floors of the building, so I display the artwork. So I think it gives all the residents a sense of ownership because they're there to decorate and to inspire other residents, starting conversations, discussing the art that they've done. And a sense of pride, I guess, when your family comes to visit because they get to see, oh, Mom, I didn't know you were an artist. You know, I know Marge has to take pictures of her art, send it to her daughter every week, and Molly's daughter has joined us for art class, and Molly's actually been inspired to buy her own paints, and she does it with her grandkids and her children in her room on the weekends.
And are there other kind of freedoms or new activities that you found some of the residents have started doing since they've moved in?
Well, we have a lot of people that come to do our exercise program every day. I'm a yoga teacher, but we do some, other exercises besides, but it's all done in a chair. And so we have actually quite a large group that comes every day now, from like Monday to Friday. So again, it's a social thing. It's coming together, and it's a lot easier to start something like that, especially at an older age, by yourself. But if other people are doing it, and there's sort of the encouragement. If people are missing, they'll say, go knock on Rita's door, or where's Ruby this morning, and how come Karam isn't here? Go knock on her door.
And so there are guys that come to this too. I thought like chair yoga is like more, it's not like a men's thing, it's more of a female thing, no? Or is it?
Well, mostly female, but we've had Ronald come, we've had Gary used to come all the time. Yeah, they can get a little intimidated by the women though. There's definitely more women in the exercise classes.
But there's hope for me yet, so at some
Absolutely.
point we could actually, okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right, we are in chairs right now. I may get you to demonstrate at some point, but okay. But interesting, okay, so yoga, painting,
Bingo.
bingo.
That's not my doing.
No,
I had
she
no
loves-
choice in the bingo. That's
Molly has just
by
discovered
request.
bingo and thought it was wonderful.
And apparently quite the shark, as I understand.
Well, I won 3 times the other day, and then they told me I couldn't win anymore, but I could still play. But the thing is, my eyesight's not great, and the bingo cards are this long, and there's 3 of them, and you have to maneuver. Well, I have a good friend, Ruby, and she sits beside me, and occasionally she'll point and I'm missing some numbers and things. And it's all part of the fun.
I think that's awesome.
I think that's a common element even in the bingo. People choose to sit where they're needed or if they need help. And they recognize it without even me trying to guide or ask for extra assistance with healthcare aid. You know, Ruby's like, oh, come sit with me, I can help you. Or someone who can't hear, they'll be with someone who can hear very well. So it's really nice how everyone just kind of takes care of each other.
What if someone's scared of moving in because someone may say that they may discover that they can't hear? I've met residents who are like, well, I don't want people to know that I'm hard of hearing, or that I'm embarrassed that I can't see as well, or those sorts of things. What would you say to someone who's sitting at home right now watching this saying, well, yeah, I'm a bit lonely, but I don't really want them to know about all my bad things, and I'd rather just sit at home and maybe talk on the phone every so often? Or
Well, we have a resident that is deaf, and we all get along very well with her. And we have started to communicate very well with her. And that helps a lot. And for those that wear hearing aids and can't hear very well, we kind of pick up the slack for them and help them along. We're pretty good at it. We have a few that can't hear even with their hearing aids. And we'll
Which
make
saying?
sure we make sure that they know when we're supposed to be at something or do something, and we just make sure they don't miss what they have heard.
People are really good at helping each other. It's like having a bunch of brothers and sisters. It's not like being in a strange place.
I think everyone comes with their own limitations, and it's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
a common thing I say is respect your limitations, do what you can. If you need help, there's help there for you. Everyone's in a different boat. Everyone comes with their unique, little time capsule in their body, no matter what they've done or what
Yeah.
they've gone through. It's part of your story and who you are. It's just kind of celebrate
Yes,
everyone's
each one of us has a story to tell.
celebrate the individuality.